The TELLES tardy trial is back. And here we are on the order in the court. Thank you for being here. So my understanding is that they will be calling one or two more witnesses. And then we will probably look at him. He is just deep in thought.
Okay. Detective, you understand you are still under oath?
I do.
Okay, thank you. You can have a seat. If you'll just state and spell your name for the record.
Once again, first name is Matthew, Matthew. Last name Hovanes, Hovanec.
Thank you.
I'm in, Coach.
You may.
Detective, I'm showing you it's been admitted as defense exhibit L3.
Welcome back, Stacy.
Showing you it's been marked as defense proposed exhibit 03, on 03, I'm sorry. It's been marked for admittance on Q3
Hey, Sharon.
as well as R3. And this time we move for admittance of these.
Yes, Solo, his face,
Just have a
he's
couple
gonna freeze
questions
his
for you.
face like
Yes.
that.
In reference to exhibit 03, you can see that this, on page 1, that this is an extraction report from a virtual image produced by you, I mean, your forensics examiner, correct? In this, and you testified previously in this case.
Not sure what you're referring to as a virtual image.
The photographs. We recall the photographs.
Oh, am I
concerning
I might
Popeyes.
be looking. You said 03?
Let me ask you this. I'll just back up. This is a report generated from the
It
Dell
sparkles.
Optiplex.
These are two reports here that were generated from data that I extracted from the Dell Optiplex, yes.
You can see that it was logged into with a personal Gmail account, correct? That'd be page 4. rrtellis@gmail.com.
There has been a Chrome login with that email address, yes.
This was the same account used on the Android phone that you had given testimony to or concerning previously.
If I had that extraction, I could verify that, but I don't have any reason to not believe you.
Okay, and that's consistent with your prior testimony concerning the cell phone.
Okay.
Is it fair to say that that means that anybody, and we have a work computer and then we have the cell phone. Is it fair to say that this means that anyone in or out of the public administrator's office with access to this computer could also access the same Google account that the phone was syncing to?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
Oh
I
my
mean,
goodness.
they're synced. And if a person,
I agree,
obviously,
Stacy.
the Google account that the cell phone had access to, it was accessed also from the work computer, or able to, the one that was recovered from the public administrator's office.
I have nothing in this report to show me his phone was synced. I just have an artifact here showing me a Chrome login using a specific email address.
Okay. And if I told you that's the same login address that was used from the cell phone, would you have any reason to disagree with?
No.
And again, not claiming, you were asked previously about hacker information, but if you have this access from the public administrator's office, from the desktop accessing the Google account that the cell phone had access to, it's fair to say that one could access that Google account from either location, from the cell phone or the desktop that was at the public administrator's office.
It would be possible to log into the account from both locations.
If I could turn your attention to Q3.
So the implication is that somebody else accessed.
Recall that line of questioning previously and the previous day that you had testified concerning all the images,
Added
I do.
or subtracted
the
information.
alleged surveillance images.
Yes.
This shows, and if I represented you, this was the last snapshot being taken. It was on 8/15/2022 at 10:32:48 a.m.
That is what it's showing is a modified time. That's not necessarily the time the picture was taken.
Do you have any information concerning what the last access, and the last access doesn't necessarily mean that it was changed in any way, but that's what we, based upon your testimony previously, that's about the time that this was taken or it was accessed.
So on here, it has a modified timestamp. That's the last time that the phone interacted with that photo. It really doesn't have anything to do necessarily with when that photo was taken.
Okay. If I could turn your attention to what's been admitted, R3. If you could turn to page 18. Here we have there's a record of time of somebody accessing the Ariana Payne's employment probation completion. Do you see that?
I do.
And do you see that time being accessed at 10:44:29 a.m.?
I do.
Presumably that was from the desktop from the public administrator's office as well as the time that was accessed, correct?
That appears correct.
And if we could go to page 11. See that? You can see that as you can see, the first access is at 10:43:13 a.m., correct?
First visited date, time, yes.
In reference to the questions concerning deleted images, I may approach. You were asked questions concerning the Celebrite extraction of the subject cell phone, the one belonging to Mr. Tellis. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Again, during the break, you didn't examine the actual cell phone, correct?
No.
You had been provided a photograph. It was a picture taken. It was up from the Celebrite webpage, and it discussed deletion, correct?
Correct.
Would that deletion necessarily concern the content, or would that deletion concern the metadata, or both?
It could vary. It could be both.
So the metadata is basically the data concerning the data on the phone. Is that a fair?
It's data about data. Yes.
And in reference to this exhibit, it was the timeline extraction, correct?
Correct.
And if you could please explain to the jury what a timeline extraction is versus an SMS or a text message extraction.
So a timeline extraction basically takes all the artifacts that were parsed out by Celebrite and just puts them in a chronological order by date and time.
And you're obviously able to access various information through this timeline extraction.
I'm not sure what you're asking there.
This timeline extraction, it contains more information, different information than, let's say, the Teams or SMS extraction. Fair to say?
Not necessarily the timeline. It's just putting everything into order by date and time.
And there is an extra column on this timeline extraction contained within this exhibit L3, where on the right, and you did see this, correct?
Yes.
It says deleted, and it says yes, correct?
I'd have to see that again.
Absolutely.
That is correct.
Yeah, but we were in an ideal world, unfortunately.
So here in this right column, and let's see. Everybody see that? Up here we have deleted, and it says yes, correct?
Yes.
And there were a number of questions made yesterday concerning a message that was sent to Mr. Tellis's phone. Message being 10:36:02. And there was questions posed to Mr. Tellis concerning having deleted that text message. all right?
Okay.
I'm just telling you what testimony was today, based upon this timeline extraction, where when a matter is deleted, it says yes. Here, we don't have the red letter stating deleted yes, correct?
Correct.
Same thing as to 3, the instant messages deleted, we don't have yes, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Hannigan?
Just want to cover quick topics. Publishing and through defense N3. You remember those questions on cross-examination? You were shown this property report and you were asked if you had searched for recipes in any of these devices. Do you remember that?
I remember being asked questions about the other devices, yes.
Okay, so if you could, sir, do you see where it says remarks here?
Yes.
Can you read that sentence for me?
Item 1 was taken from Lee Kennett's cubicle. Items 2 through 6 were taken from TELLES' office.
Okay, so these were objects. You didn't search for the term recipe or fried rice in relation to digital devices removed physically out of the public administrator's office.
I've done no searches on the other devices.
So like you didn't go through desktop computers to look for recipes?
No.
Okay, but all of that stuff came physically out of the PA's office?
Yes.
It didn't come out of Mr. Tellis' office?
No.
Do you remember there being some question about whether if you have a login that connects to an email, that somehow that links a phone to a computer, something along with, do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. Just to be clear, you said that that's not what that necessarily means, correct? That's not what that stands for.
That's correct.
Okay. And just to be clear, there are apps or softwares or programs that sometimes require an email address as your username, right?
That's correct.
It doesn't necessarily mean that the data will show up on another device. It just means if you want to access that particular website, you could, you type in your email and then maybe a password or something like that.
Correct.
Okay. And on those documents, it appears Mr. Tellis' Gmail account is maybe the username.
It does.
There was questions about, I think there was one of those street surveillance images. There was a report on that.
Yes.
Okay. Just so we're clear, you on direct and I think on cross talked a little bit about the difference between when the report says modified versus created, right? You've
Yes.
had discussions with this jury about that. What is the difference if you see in an extraction report where an image is created versus modified? What's the difference?
So when the image actually has a full complement of metadata, you might get something like the created time when that picture was actually taken, when it was created. In this instance, with a modified time, that's the last time that phone interacted with that file for whatever reason.
And I think we've had a lot of discussions about the pathway of a lot of these images being located in what, a cache file, is that right?
Cache files, yes.
What exactly, again, is a cache file?
The cache file is just storing data about these files in order to help the phone speed up processes later on.
So you could, in theory, create a photo, delete that photo that would have had the creation metadata, but if the image was stored in a cache file, that image would just still stay in there, correct?
It would.
Okay, and so when we're seeing modified, you said that's the last time your phone is interacting with the image in the cache, right?
Yes.
And again, the phone has this cache file because it does what? Does it shrink sometimes images down so they're easier to send or things like that?
It can change the size of them just to make it easier to recall that image later.
Okay, but that's the significance of modified, right?
Yes.
There were some questions again about the where are you message. Do you remember being asked that on cross?
Yes.
Just to be clear, you can't speak to definitively if it's been deleted or not. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
And just to be clear, I'm going to publish L3, defense L3. In some instances, when there's this column here that says deleted, some instances Celebrite can actually capture when a user deletes an image, correct?
Delete some message in this case, yes.
And that's kind of what records that, correct?
Yes,
But there are instances where things are removed from a phone and it won't pop up in that column. Is that right?
correct,
And I think you even had the little printout from Cellrite that explains that as well, correct?
correct.
There were some questions about the distinction between timeline and Teams messages or SMS messages. Do you remember that?
I do.
Just to be clear, if a phone contained SMS messages, and maybe, you know what Microsoft Teams is?
I do.
Okay, let's just say for a second, a phone carried Microsoft Teams messages rather than, let's say, a desktop. Let's say the phone has Microsoft Teams message, SMS message, maybe multimedia message. If all of those categories were in a phone and you went to the timeline, if it had timestamps on those messages in all those categories, would timeline just simply put it all in chron order?
It would.
Does timeline in any way manipulate or change the data that's in the phone?
No.
It just puts it in chronological order.
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Anything else, Mr. Dresser?
Yes, just so we're clear then, in reference to the images, and there has been testimony elicited concerning these images and your Popeyes. Based upon your testimony, we can't say when those photographs were taken.
I cannot.
So then to say that they were taken in August, we can't really say that, can we?
I cannot.
So if there was a line of questioning elicited from witnesses yesterday that they were taken August 15th, we can't say that, can we?
I cannot.
In reference to the messages, and there's been questions asked previously concerning deleted or not, that perhaps Mr. Telles had deleted this message from a family member on the morning of September 2nd. We can't say that based upon your review of the data, if they, in fact, that question or that email had been, or text had been deleted, correct?
No, I cannot say that.
So it'd be wrong to then assume that it had been deleted since we don't know.
On my end, yes.
And finally, I was asking if we could get, I have things, but I'm not sure.
You see, the thing is, it
There
doesn't
were
matter.
multiple devices seized from Mr. Telles's,
If it was deleted.
correct? Electronic devices.
You said from his home?
Yes.
Correct.
We had a Lenovo laptop, model 80SA.
Lenovo.
You aware of that?
If it's on the property report, yes.
We have a Dell laptop,
Sounds there were quite a few items seized.
and there were quite a few electronic items seized, correct?
Yes.
There was this
Hello, Rachel.
Toshiba disk drive, card adapter, but we have at least 2 laptops, correct?
You say it's correct off the property sheet, yes.
Did you search those to look for the rice recipes or chicken and rice recipes concerning the questions that you were asked before?
I have not searched any other devices, no.
You did not.
I did not.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Anything else from the state?
One question based off of something you mentioned. He said, remember that question, it'd be wrong to assume that like the where are you message was deleted by Mr. Telles. Do you remember something
I do.
along those lines? But just to be clear, even though you can't definitively say, you can't rule it out as a possibility, correct? It's possible a user could have deleted the message.
That is correct. I can't say one way or the other.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
But then to argue that it has been deleted, that would also be incorrect, correct?
Again, I can't say one way.
Right, our view is different. I mean, if you want to ask him his opinion,
You can't say.
I cannot say.
And we wouldn't be able to say unless we had the actual physical phone that was taken from Mr. Telles, correct?
Even having the actual physical phone might not lead to that information.
Okay. But then to assume that if we have it on an Apple Watch and not have it on this extraction, we can't say that it was deleted, correct? Because this is just the extraction.
This is just an extraction of this specific device.
Thank you. No further questions.
Okay, anything else for this witness? Okay, it looks like we have a question.
Solo, I'm really, really sorry. That must have been a horrible, traumatic event. And all I can say about that, to your comment about you think you can't laugh your way out of your depression. Sorry, Steve, now is not the time. Now is not the time. I'm sure you feel that way right now, but allow yourself a little bit of time to get through this. You're in a really, that's a horrible thing to witness. I'm so sorry you did. So I hope your neighbor is okay. And just give yourself some rest. I know Steve. He always barks at just the worst times. So anyway, I'm so sorry, Solo. Steve, you got other dogs barking, you naughty boy.
Question from a juror's been marked as Court's Exhibit 22. If someone airdrops pictures, would you know if the pictures are on the phone due to an airdrop? And if so, can you tell who did the drop of the pictures?
I don't have a lot of personal experience investigating that specific question, but in this instance, you wouldn't just taking this phone as a Google phone wouldn't be AirDrop compatible. That's an Apple function.
Thank you. Any follow-up from the state? From the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you very much for your testimony here today. You may step down. And you are now excused from your subpoena. Thank you very much for coming back today. Does the state have any further witnesses that they intend to call in rebuttal?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And Mr. Draskovich?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. All right. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard all of the evidence that will be introduced in this trial. We are going to conclude for the day. When you come back on Monday morning, you will be instructed on the law.
Wow. Well, that was quick. That was quick. I want to hear for what time they're coming back on Monday.
With the parties Monday. All right, so we are going to start Monday morning at 9:30. During this recess, you're admonished not to discuss or communicate with anyone.
All right, so 9:30 on Monday, we will have closing arguments. So now I need to just decide when I want to go live on my other channel and my new channel about the other things I wanted to talk about. I still have some preparation to do a little bit, but I have one plan for tomorrow and one plan for Monday. But I probably won't go. I probably won't go live later today, but I do have one scheduled for tomorrow. But Solo, I prescribed for you kitten and cat videos and dog videos. No people videos. No people videos. People are depressing. Dogs and cats. Solo, did you see the channel that I talked about yesterday? It's the Good News Girl. I shared her TikTok channel in chat yesterday. Actually, I shared her YouTube channel in chat yesterday.
Your copies of the jury instructions.
It looks like they might
settle these instructions.
No worries.
I don't want to put the jury instructions. So, I mean, I think we can see the writing on the wall with this. Taking a look at the poll, it appears that the majority of you believe that it'll take about an hour or probably more. But the next tranche of You Believe, it'll be 3 hours, then 35 minutes, then 15 minutes. The 15 minutes and the 35 minutes were sort of meant to be cheeky because we were talking about it earlier and we were thinking this is probably going to be a very, very quick deliberation. So anyway, so yeah, it's called, the channel is called the Good News Girl. And all she does is she says she daily posts TikToks about good news. And it mostly has to do with animals. So that's you. What's you, Patricia? Oh, yes, the 35 minutes. Yeah. And Stacy had said 15 minutes. So I was being cheeky, but the other two choices, I wasn't going to put anything beyond 3 hours. I mean, my goodness. And there are only 4 choices you can put in a poll in chat. So we will be back for opening arguments here on Monday. In the meantime, if you have not subscribed to my other channel, my new channel, that's what it looks like. Please, please, please. I'm almost at 100 subscribers. Woo! Getting up there, man. Getting up there. Without linking to either of my other channels, which have almost like 9,000 and 10,000 subscribers. So I have some lives scheduled where we're going to talk about Scott Peterson and Wade Wilson. I would love to see you there. And yeah, I know I'm sure most of you in the chat have seen this already. I just want to make sure there's always new people that are lurking in the bushes that have not seen that. In the meantime, if I don't see you on the other channel, thank you very much for being here. And also, thank you for hitting the like button on this channel. And also have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day and weekend. If you aren't on YouTube, I sincerely hope that you're getting out, having fun with the people you love, or if you have to work, that you enjoy your work day. So thank you, Sparkles. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I will definitely see you all on Monday here or on Breaking Chains in over the weekend. All right. Thank you. Bye.